Hey, today we're going to talk about the top 5 distractions to eliminate from your life so you can get things done. Because let's be real, we got a lot of things to get done. You probably have more projects, more ideas to get done, and they keep getting added to every single day. Whether it's work projects or family projects. If you're like me, my wife has honeydews that just don't stop. And at the same time, I got a lot of ideas that I want to do in the world. I want to create, I want to have fun, I want to try hobbies. But the problem is when we start moving towards something, for some reason, something gets in the way, right? Life has a way of giving us an issue that we didn't expect. And to be quite honest, a lot of it, it's just the distractions that we have all day. And if we could simply stay focused, like if you could stay focused on something for a longer period of time, you'd be able to get things done. And you might experience what I experience is you get started on something, right? And you get into a groove, maybe 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, right? It's good. And then all of a sudden somebody comes walking in, the phone goes off, something all of a sudden pops into your mind, and this distraction breaks you from that flow of focus. So now you get out of flow and you go into this other thing. When you try to come back to what you were working on, it's hard to get caught back up to speed as where you even were in the first place, right? Especially if you have like something on the computer you're doing, there's multiple tabs, it's a headache. And so if you can understand how to eliminate this, right? How to choose which distractions to get rid of, it'll allow you to get into a more focused flow, which means you get more done. The to-do list drops down, or at least it starts to diminish faster than it starts getting added to. You feel more at peace, you feel more at flow, you get more done. So the first step of these 5 is for you to break up with your phone. Yeah, it sounds weird, right? It's tough because the phone, man, becomes like the closest friend to you. Everything you want to do or need to do is all there. You could go ahead and seriously, quite literally nowadays, you can watch live TV. You can take notes. You can make videos. You can see what everyone else in the world is doing. You could even use it to figure out your ECG on your heart if you attach it to your watch. Like it's too much these things could do nowadays. And then we get addicted to them. In fact, studies show that for us as human beings, most people check their phone once every 12 minutes. Now that's on average. The height is even more. So people are just literally burying their heads in their phones like 80 times a day, which means that as you're flowing right now and you're watching this likely on your phone, like you may put this down but check it again and check it again. If you're like me, I tap that thing every once in a while to see what's on the phone screen. We're always checking it. And so because of that, we get to this point of feeling like we just have this connection. We always must know what's going on. So even when you are working, you don't put it on Do Not Disturb. Like the phone it goes off and then you check it and you break that flow unintentionally. And all of a sudden what was a good 20, 30 minutes in, it's broken. And when you go back to focus after checking your email, your inbox, whatever was unnecessary, to be honest, to check, now you're behind schedule. And so for me, like I think about this, like here's a funny thing. My son, he's playing this game called Senior Assassins. He's a senior in high school. And we get so dialed in the phone, we forget about anything else going on and distract us from everything. Now, his thing was if he was ever away from school or our house, there could be somebody hunting him to shoot him with a Nerf gun. And whoever at the end of the time, wins this Senior Assassins game, that team gets some money because everybody buys into it. And what they're doing is they have a team that gets assigned, like a group to go after, and they got to shoot him with a Nerf gun, film it to show proof, and you win at the end. Now, he was being hunted and didn't know it. Here's what took place. He went to get some Chipotle. He was there for like a minute and a half. I don't know. Somebody quite literally followed him there, and he's walking through the parking lot, face in his phone, and walks past his car, doesn't realize it, and then turns around and walks to his door and gets shot. Now, the big thing was, I don't know if I'm walking around a parking lot not aware I'm getting hunted. Like, that's just me personally. I don't know what the dude was doing, but his face was so buried in his phone, he didn't notice he was getting hunted, even walked past his car. And the reality is we're just so addicted to these things, it actually puts us in harm's way sometimes. Like some people there's like statistics that people walk in front of moving traffic and get hit every year by simply watching things on their phone, right? So you gotta break up with the phone because it can be a problem and it will hinder your ability to focus by simply you being addicted to it. So break up with your phone. Number 2 is to cut email distractions. Emails are these things that I heard one time a buddy says, emails are other people's to-do lists for you to complete. Like think about it, it's saying, hey, can I get this? Can I do this? Can I check this? For the most part, it's always somebody else needing you to do something for them. There's a request in that. And so what we do is we're always checking the request and want to be on top of it, all this kind of, it's distracting. Especially when you're trying to do some creative work. Can you imagine if I'm doing this right now, talking to you, and all of a sudden I'm checking my emails? right? And people do this. They'll be in the middle of conversation, checking emails, or the middle of creation or doing some project, and emails seep in. The thing goes off, and you feel like this weird trigger of I gotta go and do that thing. No, you don't. You don't gotta check it right now. The world's not gonna burn down. Like everything's gonna be okay if you don't check your email for an hour. So you've got to learn to have some kind of tool or create some process that removes that from you. For me, I put everything on do not disturb. I'm not checking my emails. I also don't have my emails pushed to notify my phone, so I don't know when an email comes in until I purposely go in and try and check. Now, if it's important and it's when I got to get on, someone in my world will text me. Like they'll let me know. And in the window when I can actually check, I'll go ahead and check. But the reality is you've got to have this ability to cut the tie with email so email doesn't consume. Because some emails, they take 5, 10, 15 minutes. And if you're working on something and it goes off and you check it and you spend 5, 10, or 15 minutes on the email that could have waited until tonight, your window of time to work on a project at hand was killed. You have no time to get it done. If it was an hour and you spent 15 doing that, well, the time you come back, it takes 15 minutes to get back to focused. You might get 30, if you're lucky, minutes of the hour in to work on that thing. And then you leave the hour, you go, I didn't get anything done, I suck. Or you bleed into some other time frame that needed you to be focused, but you're carrying the aspect of the old stuff in, right? So cut the email or get a tool that allows you to distribute your focus differently so you're not being pulled away by email. Number 3, avoid noisy spaces when you're working. That's pretty self-explanatory, man. Don't go around a bunch of people talking and hanging out and partying. Whenever I think about me working, this is the weirdest thing, I don't know why I do this, is my kids have track meets, and we go to these track meets, and I always bring my laptop and my iPad, and I tell myself, I'm gonna work here. Now we're there, we get there like 7 or 8, we don't leave until 3. And the last probably 4 weeks, I've gone to these track meets with the most ambitious emotions and desire to get some things done. Nothing gets done. You know why? Because the moment I go ahead and pull this thing out and trying to get focused on it, writing this thing or creating this piece of content, all of a sudden my wife would be like, look at this kid running a 200. Hey, what do you got going on here? The noise from the commentator talking about what's going on, the kids running around and playing, there's so many distractions. The noise, just the sheer noise alone pulls the brain away for that split second when you need to be focused. And then you have to come back and get focused again, and that cycle gets stressful. The brain does feel actual stress when trying to get back to focus, and eventually you get drained giving that mental energy. Your brain actually consumes about 20+% of your body's energy every day, just your brain, right? So if you're having to keep it moving faster to try and refocus, it starts to bleed into 25, 30. It takes way more energy, and your body goes, I don't want to do it. Your brain goes, yeah, I don't got anything else. And then all your focus time is wasted. So avoid noisy spaces. Try to find ways to create your own noise if you want to, like personal music. If you want to choose to do some, focus music, or you want to do some kind of classical music, whatever it might be, but find a way to choose the stuff on purpose, not be in a bunch of noisy spaces. Now, number 4 is one that I think it's always one that I have conversations back and forth with. It's about clearing the clutter. Right? When I have programs that I start with people, one of the early on things I used to explain to people is before we get started, clean your house. They go, what do you mean clean my house? I said, go clean your house. Why? Well, because the orderliness of your home makes you feel more at peace and like you're in a space, in a pocket to really get dialed in. If you go to any place that does business, functions well, and operates smooth, it is not cluttered. Because if you think about it, clutter, it makes you feel a certain way about the space. Now, the reason we get in arguments is because some people go, well, I heard Einstein's desk was dirty. You're not Einstein. Don't use that excuse, right? You ain't that. I'm not that smart. My desk is clean and organized. I like it that way because orderliness and cleanliness allows me to be at ease in my space. First. Secondly, it allows me to find what I need to find quickly, right? If I have everything I need in my space and it's organized, when I need that thing, I can reach for it and be right back and work in a couple seconds, right? But if I don't know where it's at, I break my focus. I have to go look around the room. I get up and walk around, and then I walk in that room, and my phone goes off, and I check my phone, and my wife goes, hey, I got a question for you. Oh, focus is gone. All because my space might not have been clean and orderly. I had clutter places, or it was just strewed about my office. So the idea is to have cleanliness, organize your space, then settle into it, know that everything you need is right where it's at, and now we start moving towards things. Which brings us to the last piece of the whole puzzle. Number 5, which is don't schedule unnecessary meetings. Now, I get that There's this weird feeling of like scheduling a meeting and being in our people and having conversations that makes it feel, I think it gives the false sense of security of progress, when I don't believe it always does. There are meetings that I go to and get called into sometimes where I sit there and I go, this was an email. I said it one time. Actually, there was a moment in time where it was a pre-event call. They had sent an email out and the email was clear. I understood it. And then what happened is they got us all on and walked us through the email for 45 minutes. I was livid. I was like, this is an email. You already sent it in an email. And I told them that. I said, just in the future, for people that have not a lot of time, whenever you send an email out, I think it's ideal to either ask or at least assume that people have read it, and then you can go into some other area. But you just had me redo everything that I got in your email already. And that unnecessary meeting, it takes away from life. It takes away from the focus you can have on creating and doing something. You don't always have to meet with people to do stuff. And on top of that, sometimes we have this, we will rely upon a meeting to make the progress we need. But if you don't have a purpose for the meeting, if it's just unnecessary, you're just wasting time and cluttering the brains, because what you knew to do before the meeting, you could have done and then had feedback on that. But what happens in meetings, we all come together, we meet, and we make the idea bigger, more cluttered, more discombobulated, and then you don't even get to work on it. So there's nothing that actually can be created, or nothing gets created, that allows us to get feedback on the thing. So we're still thinking about doing the thing as opposed to the thing being done and us actually refining this to make it better. Nothing gets made real. So don't have unnecessary meetings. They are, honestly, at the end of the day, the distraction. If you don't know what constitutes a necessary and unnecessary meeting, maybe that's the first start for you to figure out how to get focused, is to go, hey, what actually constitutes that for me? My opinion for a useful, necessary meeting is, does the meeting have clear takeaways of action steps I'm going to take immediately after the meeting? If it's just a brainstorm meeting that pulls from our focus, don't do it. So those are your top 5 ways to eliminate any distractions from your life so you can get things done.